right. Thank you, Stephen, for that chance. I'm glad to have everyone here so that we can be able to share. All right. So I think we're just going to jump right into the insight in the session. So this is what we are basically trying to work out as a company in terms of being able to give feedback to our applicants, at least once you make any application and you are able to get a feedback, at least for you as an applicant or as a candidate, you're going to um, what normally happens is that you're going to get some dignity in the fact that you've applied or you've made some application and you're given some feedback. Now, for our case, we have decided to take it a step higher because now you find for some recruitment agencies or for some companies, they normally just give you a rejection without an explanation. But in this case, we thought that it's wise to give you the candidates it's wise to give you maybe some more insight into what transpired so that it does not only help you right now, but also it helps you in your future applications, and that will be insightful to you. So, as you're aware, I believe all of us applied for the position that is Dairy and Agricultural Research Manager role, and it's based at Calro, Naivasha, Nakuru, and it was a 2-year contract with a 6-month probation. And I believe that we all applied for this position. So I'll just jump right into what we prepared for you. And then from there, we are going to delve into any questions that you're going to have. So, first of all, I think it's wise if each and every one of us understands what really happens when we make applications, maybe to our website and maybe other recruitment agencies. So, we thought that it's wise to present this to you so that now you can be able to understand what really transpires when you make application, either to our website or to any other recruitment website. So the first thing, once you upload your CV, it goes to our system, and what happens is CV screening. So basically, this is the initial filtering where we have a software. Each recruitment agency or a company normally have their own softwares. So what happens is, you see the JD that we post on our website. The software normally analyzes the keywords in those JDs, and now it keeps it in its memory, and then from there it's going to compare those keywords if they are now on your CV. Okay, so it's basically going to screen your CV. It's getting your name, your experience, your education, and all those other metadata. And based on that metadata it's going to pick from your CV, it now screens and compares if there is a match, and then from there it gives you a score. The next phase is after screening. Here we normally have a sourcing strategist who is going to do all this work. Once the screening by the system is done, and then we have the sourcing strategist who is also going to go through each CV by CV and moving them to the next stages of recruitment. And if you pass through the CV screening, the next stage will be phone screening. And this is the phase where you find now the recruiter will call you and ask you a few questions, because now you find some people have generic CVs and they have maybe copied the experience from here and from there. So the phone screening is where the recruiter or the sourcing strategist will call you and ask you a few questions. And from there, he or she is going to get to know if truly you have the experience or the qualifications that are in the CV. So if you pass through this stage, then you are now going to be called to the interview, and also the recruiter. Now this is where you meet the recruiter. The recruiter is now going to analyze in depth the expertise that you have and if you're the right fit for the role in terms of skill set, in terms of cultural fit, and the requirements of the client. Now, I'm sure you all applied for the dairy and agricultural management role. So for this role, there were things that we were looking for. As we earlier on said, we are going to give you feedback. some of the things that were important for the client in this role, as I have highlighted below, I believe the first one is dairy value chains. Okay, so when we talk about dairy value chains, if you as an applicant, you're going to proceed to the next stage, you had to merit all these lists, like you had to take dairy value chains. Do you have knowledge in dairy value chains? That is, now when we talk about dairy value chains, like does your CV or your qualifications merit that base? Because now you find when you talk about dairy value chains, you want to see things like milk production, and that goes a long way with things like breed selection, feed quality, and disease control. We also want to see, like, do you really understand the dairy value chain, right from the milk collection, milk production, and then move maybe to collection and transportation of milk, which encompasses, like, how do you store the milk so that the quality of the milk is not interfered with, and things like also processing and value addition of the milk. So, or dairy products, I've used milk as just an example. So your CV should be able to present such things. And maybe the final thing is marketing and distribution. How are we going to give these products or the farm products to the market and things like that? So if your CV does not present things to do with dairy value chains, the same way I've stated, like we want to see things like milk production and breed selection and things like collection and transportation, all that value chain, then more specifically, you're not going to melt in this list. So the next one is maybe on sustainable agriculture. Like we want to see in your CV, like we have how are we producing without compromising with future generations. So things like that were the things that we were looking into it. So when we talk about maybe social sustainable agriculture, we want to see things like soil health, biodiversity, and reduced chemical use, because now here we are encompassing things like we don't want to interfere with future generations. And also your CV should portray things to do with marketing, system development, food security, project management, like what projects have you done in line with this specific job? Do you have project management skills and all those other things? What big projects have you done that is going to present you like you're going to do this job and things like that? So those are some of the things that we were looking into, and someone who ticked all these were likely going to proceed to the next stage. And now you'll find maybe someone will tick one or two. That one maybe will be put pending or something like that. But now when you does not tick any of those lists, you'll find that you're just going to be given a rejection. Because bear in mind that a recruiter or a sourcing strategist, what they have in mind is to pick the best candidate for a specific position. So if you don't merit, it means that you are not going to proceed to the next stage. Okay. Now, I must put a disclaimer here. You can be, someone can be like, I can do all these things. But now you see the problem at times is, yes, you yourself know that you can be able to do dairy value chains, you can be able to do sustainable agriculture, market system development, all these you can be able to do. But the only problem you've done is you've not brand yourself or you're not marketed yourself on your CV. Bear in mind that the recruiter or sourcing strategists, these are people who have never met you. The only way they get to gauge you is through your CV. So if you have not presented yourself in such a way that once they look at your CV, they can quickly judge that you can be able to do these things. Bear in mind that they are not going to pick you for that for the next stages of the recruitment process. So I'll move quick because of time. The common mistakes that we saw after reviewing the applications of one of two applications here and there, we noticed that there were generic CV summaries. There was irrelevant experience and poor presentation of responsibilities, lack of CV tailoring, formatting and submission errors. There are also monitoring. Yeah. And then we are going to do, finally, I'll give you tips for success. So let's just dive into each of the following. Now, on generic CV summaries, let's pick this one. Bear in mind that this is a dairy and agricultural managerial position. So, for example, some of the applications that people are making or candidates were making, the issue was that the CV summary, that this is the summary that comes on the top. Okay, so basically, the summary is more or less a shortened cover letter. And I'll just give you an hint here. Your summary should be an answer to the JD. Basically, you're telling the recruiter, hey, recruiter, you want this? Okay, I got you. I can be able to do this, and this. Because now the recruiter, when they are going through, or the sourcing strategies, when they are going through your CV, it takes them about a minute to go through your CV, because you normally find that there are around maybe 500 applications or 500 candidates who have applied for a specific job. So they quickly go through your CV, and the first point they read, or the first stopping point in your CV, is your CV summary. So if it's not answering the JD, because now the employer will be like, hey, I want someone who understands dairy value chains, someone who understands project management, sustainable agriculture, and things like that. By the fact that you're applying this position, it means that you're qualified for that. But now, if your summary, which is the first point of contact, does not communicate that, then basically you're going to be thrown out. Why? Because the sourcing strategist or the recruiter does not have time to go through each and every detail of your CV. Case in point, look at this one. Seeking a position where my knowledge, successful experience, and academic credential in applied biology will be utilized, and continuously dedicated to quality work, long-term learning, and skill development. Yeah, we understand you can do that. Okay, there's no problem with that. It's very okay. But for this context, we want you to answer the JD, like, be like, I want, this is what I'm bringing into the table. Like, this is what you're looking for, and this is what I'm bringing in. I'm not saying you lie, but what I'm basically trying to say is, based on your experience and based on your education and qualification, what is it that you can do that the employer is looking for? And that is what should inform your CV summary. So that way, it positions you at an edge, in the sense that you're telling them, you guys have this problem. Okay, I can give you the solutions. All right. So as I gave a solution here, or as I said here, the many applications use vague statement like reliable team player and things like that. So as I highlighted here, customize your summary to highlight daily specific expertise and research experience. All right. So things like that. Now, the next one is irrelevant experience. Sorry, here I think I used the wrong image. But now you find that it's still the same. Some candidates listed experience are related to dairy agriculture, such as the HR or software development, without drawing connection to the JD. There was someone who applied, but like, the summary that he has presented is maybe, for example, talking about HR and management or software development and things like that. Yeah, I believe I get the point, right? You're trying to bring the essence of, hey, I've been in HR and I've done management. Yeah, I get a point. But now, how does it connect to the dairy and agricultural manager position? So you have to link the two. Okay. So if you want to insinuate your previous experience, you have to link it with the current one. Okay. So maybe you'll be like, in the previous role, it was an HR. Yes, um, I've done this, And with these skills that I gained there, I can be able to use project management skills I gained there to be able to manage the daily value chains across East Africa for this role. So things like that. So just example, the solution that I've given here, include relevant experience or reframe transferable skills. If you work in general project management, emphasize the agricultural projects, managing daily research initiatives, or leading farmer training programs. Because of time, I'm moving quickly. Poor presentation of responsibilities. Now, this is, it could really affect most of the people. I want us to look at this together. As I've stated here, the issue. You're just giving generic task. For example, look at this. You're telling me responsibilities at the Department of Livestock and Fisheries was veterinary public health. Now, let's assume 10 of you were working at Kericho County Department of Livestock and Fisheries. If these were the responsibilities that were highlighted in the JD, be sure that 10 of you will write veterinary public health. They'll all write these responsibilities. Okay? Now, let's assume you all apply the same job here at GAP. So, how are you going to stand out of the 10? This is what I'm saying. If you write veterinary public health, the sourcing strategies of the recruiter will ask themselves, so what? Okay, because that is just saying like that is a proper noun or that is a noun, things like that. It does not tell us what you did. It does not tell us the impact that you made, because veterinary public health, that is just like a pronoun or something like that. Okay, it does not communicate anything about you. It has no attachment about you. Okay, so writing also again disease control does not communicate anything about you. That is just something that is like, I don't know if you guys are getting the gist here. If you say disease control as your role and responsibilities, there is no attachment to you. So how are we going to evaluate you in terms of what you are bringing and the impact that you're making? Are you seeing that? So the solution here is you need to show impact. Okay, so if maybe you're finding it so much hard to show impact in terms of presenting your roles and responsibilities, there's a method that some guys have developed, that is the STAR method. So you maybe present a situation, maybe at a place that you are working, or a task, and the action and the result. For example, develop a daily disease control strategy. Okay, implementing vaccination program that reduced mortality by 15% within 2 years. So develop a daily disease control strategy. Okay, that is a task or a situation. Now, implementing vaccination programs, that is an action. Like after developing it, you didn't stop there. You went ahead and did an action. And that action was you went and implemented vaccination programs. And what was the result? The result was it reduced livestock mortality by 15% within 2 years. So if I'm a recruiter or a sourcing strategist, I'll be like, this guy or this lady goes to work not because he or she is just going there, but they are after making impact. Okay, so in short, this is a results-driven candidate. Okay, so those are the things that are going to make you stand out. Unlike now, a candidate who's just going to write roles and responsibilities in that essence. As I said, I'm just moving quickly because of time. Another common mistake was CV tailoring. I believe I had highlighted this so much. And one mistake that maybe we make is we have a general CV and we normally try to use this CV to make all the application. My quick advice would be for each of the application. For example, there can be application or a job advert on dairy, maybe dairy manager or something, or dairy value chains. Yeah. And you're good in dairy value chains. And then there's another job that is separately talking about maybe livestock or maybe biodiversity. Okay. So the common thing for people is to just use the same CV to make the two job applications. It's not really advisable because now you find for job A, there are specific things that they require. For job B, there are specific things that they require, and the JDs are different. Okay. So what you'll want to do is tailor your CV. Tailoring means you make your CV to align with that specific job description. We understand that you can do a lot. We understand that you know a lot. But remember, someone who is going to review your CV may not have all the time to go through each and every detail. So what you want to do is maximize each and every space that is on your CV so that even if the recruiter skips a specific line or a specific passage, in the next passage, they are going to find something that is bringing value to you. But now, if you put in chunks, now you find the recruiter skips these and then goes to this section. He or she is still finding chunks that are not related to that specific job. So basically, tailoring helps you to maximize each space in your CV. And number two, you're using each space or opportunity in your CV to present yourself as a good candidate for that specific role, which means you're increasing the chances of getting that specific job. Um, yeah, so as I said there, many applications use one size fit all CV that do not emphasize dairy value chains, climate, smart agriculture, or research innovation. So look at this one. I'm a professional animal scientist who has ventured into software development through digital employability program. I'm ambitious individual with a keen interest in leveraging technology to simplify process and solve problems. I'm flexible and always eager to find new things. I believe he studied here very well. I'm a professional animal scientist. But now for this specific role, we are not really interested in software development. So he has wasted words and he has wasted space there writing about software development. And for this specific role, according to the JD, we are not really interested in software development. Okay, so what he could have leveraged is what other skills which are related to the JD does he have? If he has a strength in dairy value chains, he could have used this space to talk about dairy value chains. And then the fact that he's an ambitious individual with a keen interest in leveraging technology, it's still okay. But now you see, everyone else can say the same thing. Everyone can say they are ambitious individual, but we cannot merit that. So instead of maybe giving this, you can give a key achievement that you've made in your career that shows that you're ambitious individual with a keen interest in blah blah blah. Maybe you can talk about a problem where you faced, for example, there have been a challenge in the market because of poor storage and transportation of the milk, which is affecting the dairy value chain. So there you can be able to say how you ambitious and you leverage your skill to find solutions for poor storage and poor transportation that was affecting the dairy value chains because of spoilage of milk and things like that. Yeah, so let me just go back. So one thing I forgot to mention, CV tailoring really helps you as I said initially, once you make an application, your CV goes to our system and there is a CV screening by the system and it gives you a percentage score. Well, not all the recruitment firms use or the hiring managers use this, but this is just a bonus. If you've tailored your CV, because the system is just going to basically pick the metadata in your CV and then compares with the keywords that are on the JD. If they match 100%, then you're given a score of 100. If they match, if most of the words maybe match 50%, you're given a 50% score and things like that. Though you may also find that in some recruitment firm or hiring managers, they still go through the CVs even if they have a low percentage. But maybe for some institutions, they just rely on these percentages. So it's good to really tailor your CV for a specific job. Another problem that we saw is CV structuring and formatting, and then also submission errors. As I initially said, this after this stage here, after the system has gone and has maybe given you a score and it has screened your CV, the next stage is sourcing strategies now reads through your CV. I don't know. I don't know if you guys you've read a book. Okay, let me give an example. Have you seen the doctor's notes? Those notes at times they are so much hard to read. Yeah, or maybe the way someone writes his or her things at times it may be hard to follow or things like that. So same case for your CV as you write it. Now you find some people have tables, some people have small fonts, some people have chunky CVs and things like that. So remember, a recruiter is someone. So you'll want your CV, first of all, to be eye appealing because after the system, the next review stage is now the recruiter or the sourcing strategist. So if your CV structure is not well formatted or is not eye appealing, then if it lands on a recruiter's table and maybe he or she is tired, they may not really have so much interest going through your CV because one, it's not organized, things are not really formatted, the fonts are small, there's a mix up of everything, yeah, things like that. So you will want to structure your CV very well so that you can be able to get that. So as I said here, some CVs are cluttered and lack a clear structure or contain submission errors. So solutions here are said keep your CV clear and structured with bullets and concise headings, and double check that you're submitting the correct document because we found some people are submitting their personal documents, maybe certs and all those other things. Also ensuring that your CV is ATS friendly. And for this one, I'm going to talk about maybe in the next slide. Here are the tips. Now, this is just a sample. I forgot to mention at Gap Recruitment, we have a sister department or a company. It's called CV Tap. This department was formed because we realized that there are challenges that the candidates face when they are applying their jobs. So part of it is the CV revamp, preparing people for interviews. Now you find some candidates they have not gone into an interview setting, or they normally get calls for interviews, but they never succeed in their interviews, and they have never known the reason why. So this department or sister company is specifically working on those bottlenecks, some including the ones that we have mentioned, so that it equips someone at a vantage point to be able to advance to the next stage. So I mentioned one thing here about your CV being ATS friendly. So the system that normally grades your CV is the ATS. So it means that so basically what happens is it's just an AI tool that is scanning through your CV and picking the metadata and things like that. So if it's not structured and formatted well, then as it scans through, it's going to miss through some information. And it means that some of the important things are not going to be picked because of your structure or it's not ATS friendly. So some of the things that I was talking about, I've just picked a CV here for a colleague, and this CV was done here, Gap Recruitment by CV Tap. So let's assume, because now this is a colleague here, she's a talent acquisition and an onboarding specialist. Also, she's a that. So if we assume that you are competing with someone like this, just look at this CV. Like there's if maybe you are applying for talent acquisition job, just look at the summary. Dedicated talent acquisition and onboarding specialist. Like when you try to read, they are not wasting spaces and they are not wasting time. Each and every point, each and every word adds them or brings them closer to being selected for that position. Now, things like this, career highlights, you see, they are positioning themselves at the recruiter's eye. Because if you are hiring a recruiter, then if you see, she said interviewed 200 plus profession, achieving 90% success rate in placing top talent, reducing hiring time, and enabling organizations to focus on their core business. So if I was scanning through these as a recruiter, quickly I'll be able to pick up a few things that I'm like, oh, this candidate is a potential one. Okay. And also look at the structure of the CV. Now you see, it's easy to read and it's easy to pick out things. Now, for if it was for this case for dairy and agricultural managerial position and the industry expertise, if it was your CV, this is where you now put in here, instead of talent management, you write about dairy value chains or milk production, or and then the second one you can do maybe for example marketing or project management, all those other things that you are good in. So if it's a recruiter or a sourcing strategist, they are able to pick them quickly and proceed and be like, oh, you're a good candidate for this specific position. So these are some of the things that we find helpful for you, not only for the position that you applied to, but also maybe in future positions and in organizations that you are going to apply to. So maybe in case also you may want to restructure your CV, you can contact CV TAP. There is their number. I believe they are going to help you. With that, I believe since this was a very short session, I've also extended. I'm going to end it at that point, and then I am going to proceed to any question that someone has. So I'll return back it to, okay, yeah. So I'll hand back to Stephen so that he can guide us through the Q&A session. And then from there, we can be able to close. Thank you so much for attending. I'm glad to have seen you all and all the very best in your future applications. There's more and more that you can be able to talk about job applications in terms of right from your CV, right from preparing for an interview, and all many other things that make you stand out as a professional. So thank you so much for listening and have a nice time. Stephen?
So the first question is it professional to write an email 1 month after you have submitted your application requesting feedback if none is given? So can you follow up after a month? Or you can even talk broadly on what's the timeline and how do you follow up? The other question is, do I have to tailor make my CV for every job? It is highly advisable that you do that for the reasons that Shadrach has explained. How do I get a job without experience? You can, I think for this one, you can reach out and speak to Shadrach. He can be able to guide you individually on this. It's very important. And probably you don't lack like entirely experience. It's maybe experience in that field, of which now we can look at what are the transferable skills. So this is a conversation we can have. Make sure you reach out and we help you with that. I think that is Sharon. The other question that I think we have not talked about, someone is asking about the current job opportunities. We do post this on our website, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with it. So keep your eye on the website. Whenever we have opportunities coming up, that is where you're going to find them. The last question I think we're going to deal with is, how do I answer the question on why I need the job without appearing desperate? So why are you looking for this job, or why do you need this job? And how do you answer that question without appearing desperate? Okay, yes. Someone is asking about the rejection criteria. I think that has been addressed. So I think let's take those two questions, Shadrach. How do you do a follow up? And also, how do you answer the question of why do you need this job without appearing desperate? If you have questions in the chat, just raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shadrach, for taking us through that swiftly. Like he said, our aim at Gap Recruitment is to be able to be useful to the candidates that come to us. We are constantly working on our processes to ensure that you get value. And once you come through our system, we are able to facilitate you and update you with what's happening in the market so that you're not left behind. We are very passionate about this and we're going to continue with these particular efforts. So keep engaging with us whenever we reach out for these webinars. Make sure you show up so that we're able to update you. Also, like he said, if you want help with your CV, your interviews, if you're having a specific job that you don't know how to go about, if you're being called for different tests, whether they are aptitude tests or any other thing that is used in the process of procuring labor, or talent, we are here to help you. Do not feel lost. Just reach out, talk to us. That's why we have set up an entire sister company to be able to work with you and guide you and hold your hand. So if you have any challenge, make sure you reach out. And with that, I am very grateful for giving us your time. And I hope you have gotten value and we will continue to be in touch. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful afternoon.